fall, winter, spring, those types of things. So, hey everybody, this is Tatyana Sturm with the Storck Team. I have Deena Lawrence on StreetYard with me today. She happens to be a friend of mine, but also she did some amazing landscape work in my front and backyard a few years ago. So I'm still loving it, and I have her come back. It seems like maybe every year or every other year just to spruce things up, but she's done a lot of people's landscaping here in my community in Greenfield. So I'm really excited to have her on here with us today. She sent out an email to me the other day, and it was just a great information about maintenance that we can do on our yards during the colder months to get it ready for the warmer months. So Deena, just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Deena Lawrence. I own Verde Landscape Design. We specialize in residential custom landscape design. We do consulting work, hourly consulting, and we also do a lot of plant purchasing and a lot of planting.
A lot of plants. I have a lot of different plants.
You do.
And I got this great plant book that you made for me too, which I should probably go look at that more often. But so, like I said, she had sent some great information out to me that I wanted to share with you all. And it's just, there are some things that as homeowners we can do during the colder months to our landscaping, to our trees, to our grass to prepare it for the warmer months. And I know for myself, I didn't really know to do that that much until, Deena and I had talked, I don't know, maybe it was 5 years ago when you did the landscaping on my house. But let's talk about that. So let's talk about that like right now, it being, heading into fall and being colder temperatures, which we just are in right now or just came out of. What are some things that people can be doing now, but between now and the end of the year to be maintaining or taking care of their landscaping?
Yeah, it's a great question because everybody thinks about their landscapes only in the summer, spring, summer, and then people are done. Figure, oh, it's just all dormant. I don't have to do anything with it, but it is so far from the truth. Heading into winter, it is critical that you get your plants ready to handle the really cold temperatures. So making sure all trees and shrubs, especially, are well watered going into winter, especially right before any cold snap like the one we just had, which is what prompted me to send that email out to clients. You really, if you think about it, the air temperature fluctuates here crazy, up and down really, really fast. But the plants are in the earth. Anything that's planted in the ground has the whole big earth insulating it and protecting those roots. And the soil temperature doesn't change very fast. So even with the temperatures dropping really, really fast like they did these last few days, the soil stays warm. So that'll really help your plants as long as they're well watered, because the dry soil the temperature can change a lot faster. But water temperature, like if you think about an ocean or the Great Lakes or anything, that keeps its temperature and affects the climate. It will be well insulated as long as the plants are well watered.
Okay, so a question about watering now. How often do you recommend doing that then? I mean, is it something that people just have to watch, okay, how much snowfall we have? Or is it something that you say, okay, when it warms up, go ahead and water like twice a month or once a week? Like what does that schedule look like?
Yeah, twice a month. You said it. That is just a good general rule to follow. If it depends on the winter, over the last, I'd say 10, 15 years, I can think of one winter when we really didn't need to get out and water, where the snow really just stayed like it does in other parts of the country. But for the most part in Colorado, our snow melts. And any place there's not snow cover, twice a month is just a good rule to follow. You want to watch for a day that the temperature gets up to, say, 40 degrees, which it does plenty of times in the winter here, and take that opportunity to hook up your hose, because the sprinklers are blown out, so you got to hook up your garden hose and just go out and water everything by hand, or you can put on an oscillating sprinkler or something if you want to use that. But the simplest is just water everything by hand, any plant that you want to live, trees, shrubs, perennials, even your lawn, because there's these little insects called turf mites that can eat your lawn, and they affect lawns mostly facing south or west, especially on a slope where it gets really dry and the water just doesn't stay there. You don't need any kind of chemical though to prevent their damage, just water. They just don't like water. So giving everything a good drink on those mild days, again, twice a month is perfect.
And what is that time, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or what?
It depends on the size of the plant. It depends on how fast the water's coming out of your hose. So it's hard to say a real amount of time. But if you've got a standard, say, size suburban lawn, like a greenfield lot or something, expect it to take an hour, really. If you've got a good number of trees and shrubs and, like I said, even watering your lawn, just giving it a nice little drink. Any place there's snow cover, you don't need to water. So like on the north side of the house, or if the snow stays there all winter, you don't have to do anything there. The snow is protecting it and it's set. But any place the snow does melt, yeah, I'd say really expect it to take an hour. Go around, give everything a little drink, and then start at the beginning and give everything another little drink so the water can really soak in. It's the roots that need to stay moist. So
good job for my kids.
I'm sorry?
It's a good job for my kids.
Yes, it's a perfect thing. Get your kids to do it, or while you're watering, pull out your phone and call your mom, call your good friend, something, and just chat to pass the time, because you don't have to think too hard, but it's just going to take a little while. Be grateful that for everybody who has an irrigation system in the summer, it does it for you. You don't have to do that every week in the summer, but in the winter, when the sprinklers are blown out, it's just, especially anything that's new, like your landscape, Tatyana, it's established.
Like in the last year or something, so I planted last year.
Yeah, anything planted within the last year, it's absolutely critical because it's not yet established. So those are the ones that are most at risk. But even mature and established trees and shrubs will really benefit from this.
Well, and that's good information to know because, if you spent the time and you spent the money and you dug the hole and bought the soil, you don't want to see all that, go to waste, what you did, your money and your time to plant some of those plants. So keep that in mind. If you, whatever new plants you did, take good care of those and make sure that they're getting watered. So another thing that in your email, you talked about adding more mulch to insulate. So can you touch on that topic?
Sure. Yeah, if your plants have wood mulch, if it's bark chips or shredded cedar, any type of wood mulch like that around them, it breaks down over time. And depending on what type you've got, it may blow away or wash away over time, depending on how it's been installed too. Especially if it's got the fabric underneath it, it's more likely to blow away in our crazy winds that we get here. So you want to keep a layer 3 to 4 inches thick. That is the best for preventing weeds, for keeping moisture in the soil, and for regulating soil temperature and preventing the heaving and cracking and all those things that can happen as the temperature fluctuates. So go out and check and just kind of dig around in a few areas. And if it seems like it's not 3 to 4 inches thick here anymore, get some more and put it on. It's a great insulator. Okay.
And people can do that anytime during the year, I guess, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It makes no difference. If it could be the middle of January, and if you realize, you know what? Yeah, there's no snow cover here and there's not much mulch, put down some more mulch and give everything a really good drink. And that'll really help prevent problems.
Yeah, especially because we're not doing too much to our yards in January. So
gives you something to do outside on those mild days.
Yeah. Okay. So something interesting you had mentioned to me earlier too, just so that people understand the importance of this is, the summer was crazy dry and hot. And so doing this will help those hot summer months, correct?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's a really good point, because sometimes the damage doesn't show up right away, either from summer drought or people don't water in the winter. The plants have reserves, and they may come out just fine in the spring, and they'll leaf out or they'll bloom in the spring, but they're using up all their reserves, and the damage that happened over the winter will then show up when the plant is more stressed, especially if we have another hot, dry summer like we did this last one. So it's sometimes tough to know when the damage occurred.
Mm-hmm. So that's a good point. And so, yeah, so I'm just going to put it on my calendar, like the 1st and 15th, just drop me a little reminder to do the watering. And then I talked about this last week, but for all you out there that didn't blow your sprinklers out or disconnect your hoses or anything like that, I guess make sure that you do that, or probably have it checked, because it got really cold. It was below freezing. So we want to make sure that, you're disconnecting your hoses, because that can freeze. Let's see. And you mentioned here something on the backflow preventer, wrapping it in a bath towel, large plastic trash bag, insulating, stuff like that. So
especially if they haven't been blown out yet, and coming into this cold weather that we were just getting, some people hadn't been. They were waiting till later in the month to blow them out, and so it's just one way to help protect it. The towel keeps some of the moisture off and provides some insulation, and then a trash bag around it. Again, with the snow, keeps the towel from getting all wet, and it's not fail safe, but can help prevent it from cracking.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of people calling me on Saturday trying to find somebody to blow out their sprinklers for them.
Really quick. Those guys were busy on Saturday.
Well, I saw a bunch of signs around. I'm like, that's actually really smart. Put your signs around, because people always wait to the last minute. So any other tips or anything that you could give to people out there as far as doing maintenance, or, anything for your lawn between here and when, things start sprouting again in April?
One other tip related to trees, if you've probably seen trees occasionally with a brown paper wrapping up the trunk, that tree wrap can help young trees. So you don't need it on a mature tree. Once the bark starts to look kind of wrinkled, like on a bigger tree, then the bark is protecting the tree. But young trees where the bark is still really, really smooth, the bark isn't protecting the cells that are just underneath it. And I won't get into all the plant physiology, but the wrapping the trunk with the brown paper that you can get, probably Tagawa is probably the best place to find it. You don't want to use black. Sometimes they sell black tree wrap, and that just absorbs the heat, and that's not going to help. The brown, though, is a light color. It doesn't absorb it, and it's kind of crinkly like crepe paper, so it provides some insulation to that young bark and helps prevent tree scald.
Okay, and you would say to do that for the first year or 2 years, or
a few years, till the bark gets more mature and starts to have those grooves in it. And you want to put the tree wrap on around Thanksgiving and take it off around Easter or Passover in the spring.
Okay, well, that's great information to know too, because I know a lot of people that planted new trees this year with COVID,
is perfect.
Working on their yard and stuff. So, well, I really appreciate your time, Deena. I got your email and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect information. Well, like you said, I mean, a lot of times people don't know that you need to be doing this during the winter. A lot of people that have relocated here to Colorado don't realize that either. And I was just gonna, if anybody out there needs some landscaping ideas or want to do redo your front yard or backyard, Deena's just amazing. She came out, I think you did 3 or 4 different drawings or renderings of different landscape design that we talked about. And one of the things that I loved about you is that you repurposed so many things in my yard. I just thought that was so cool, and just really being eco-friendly. So really appreciate that. So I will put Deena's information down below this video. So if you have additional questions for her, reach out to her, or if you are interested in having some new landscaping projects done, she's fantastic. I know lots of people, just even here in Greenfield, that have used her and have been super, super happy. So thank you, Deena, for your time. And it was good seeing you. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So I'm going to log off and we can still stay on, okay?